Hey friends, welcome back to my Practically Imperfect Life. I have been doing a little reflecting today on dual enrollment and what we've been learning along the way and the process and just some thoughts. And I thought, it's been far too long since we've had a couch talk. So grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Let's sit down and let's talk about all things dual enrollment. So hello again. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Abby. I'm a homeschooling mom of two. I have two high school age students, and my oldest this year is a senior. And we are doing some dual enrollment with her this year, and I really thought it was about time for me to sit down and share a little more about that. The thoughts I've had on it, some reflections, kind of the process, what we've been learning along the way, and things like that. And the first thing I really wanted to address was whether or not you have to do dual enrollment. I feel like when I go through a lot of, other YouTube channels from homeschoolers who have kids of similar age, or a lot of like the Facebook groups for homeschoolers and things like that, you see a lot of people post about their student taking a bunch of classes, either as a junior or a senior or both, and talking about, oh, we've gotten, these number of years of college out of the way and this number of credits racked up and everything. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. In fact, that's an awesome thing. It's really amazing for those students that they've been able to do that. But I feel like it starts to add this little subconscious pressure to each of us, this feeling that, well, my student's a homeschooler, and homeschoolers are supposed to be so far ahead of their public school counterparts, which means that my homeschooler should be taking college classes and my homeschooler needs to do dual enrollment and they've got to get all of this stuff done. And oh my goodness, am I putting them in enough college classes? Am I supposed to have them basically going full-time? What am I supposed to do? And that's where I want you to just stop and take a breath, because the very first thing that you need to remember is that you aren't required to do any of that. It is something that can be totally individualized to your student. So don't let what you hear in the background, all of that noise, make you think that you have to do something a certain way for your homeschooled student. That is the beauty of homeschooling, is we are able to adjust and customize and make a path with our student that is the path for them. That's the right way for them to go. Not every student is going to be ready for college level courses while they are in high school. Some will be ready as a junior, some will be ready as a senior, and some won't be ready until, they're actually ready for college. Some students don't have college as a goal. Maybe they want to go into a trade. Maybe they want to go straight to work. Maybe they're joining the military right out of high school. And so getting those credits in advance may or may not be something that is, really important to them. And when you are asking your student to do college level work and college level demands and working around that schedule and everything, your student really has to be on board with it. This has to be something that you want to encourage them through, but it also has to be something that they want to do, because it's going to be very different than what they're used to being homeschooled, having somebody else grade the work, having somebody else set the deadlines, deciding what it is that they're going to be doing, and having to have those extra interactions with students of a variety of ages. And so really just start by looking at your student, having a conversation with your student about whether or not this is something that they really want to do. In our homeschool, we had discussed dual enrollment courses as a possibility last year. However, when we looked at, first of all, what courses my daughter was going to do, the ones that I had picked out that I knew I wanted to have her do here at home, we already had quite a full course load. And we had some tough courses. We had some challenging material. And I really wanted her to do that. To me, it was more beneficial for her to do that challenging work that I have chosen versus something that I didn't know what exactly it was that she would be studying in those courses or what those professors would decide to have her do. Second of all, we were looking at her overall schedule. So she had just started working. She was still playing multiple sports. That was the year where she had to train extra hard for golf and do a lot of extra prep work, because it was the year that the scouts were all looking at her. And she had not yet made a commitment to one school or another. And I just didn't want to put that extra pressure on her plate, and I don't think she wanted it either. She's one of those students who, if I had said, hey, I think we should do this, she wouldn't have argued back. She would have been like, okay, and she would have done it. However, I don't think it would have been beneficial to her. And so when, we finally had that conversation, I said, like, do you want to do dual enrollment this year? And the answer was no. I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll discuss it next year. And so now, fast forward to where we're at now. Because we started doing high school level courses back when she was at like the 8th grade level. And her first couple of years in our homeschool were so filled with, different courses. She really has completed pretty much everything that was our goal for her to complete in high school. I had originally outlined our high school years based off what our local public schools do for their academic honors diplomas. So, a certain number of credits in a lot of different areas, foreign languages, arts classes, 4 years of science, 4 years of math, 4 years of literature, all of that. And she has those things pretty much completed. So I've had a lot fewer courses to assign her this year. Her schedule's also just a little bit, I don't want to say lighter, but it's more breathable now. She's gotten used to her work schedule. She has made a commitment to a school for golf. So while she is still training hard, there's a little bit of pressure gone now that she knows where she's going and she knows where she's playing. I think it's a huge stressor off of her to have that decision already made. And it'll allow her to put her full attention into a college level course, or in this case, several college level courses. So this year we decided we were going to do some dual enrollment. So when we were starting to look into where to have my daughter do dual enrollment and what courses to do, we really had to do a little bit of research about the transferability of credits, because a university is not required to take credits from another college, nor are they required to take them in the way that you think. For example, and this is just a real life example from me, when I went to school at Butler, I had taken an advanced chemistry class. So it was kind of like a course that skipped over the first semester of chemistry, or kind of like crammed the first semester of chemistry into just a few short weeks of review, and then jumped right into the second semester of chemistry. It was designed for those of us who had either taken AP Chem in high school, or we had like tested into higher levels of chemistry. Awesome, right? So I did that as part of my chemistry degree program. Well, when I went back to nursing school several years later, and I was trying to transfer those credits into the new school that I was going to, they looked at that chemistry course and they wanted to count it as something different, and they tried to tell me that I needed to take a full year of basic chemistry again. Despite the fact that chemistry was one of my majors, my first time through college. And so I had to actually fight for them to accept those credits and count them as a full year of chemistry. Actually, I had to talk to like the head of the chemistry department at the new school and everything to get that to happen. So doing your research on what schools will accept and how things will transfer is important. If your student has a rough idea on where they want to go, or even better, if they know exactly what college or university they want to go to for their 4 years or whatever of college, see if that school has something like a website where you can check and see how credits transfer in. Now, the school that my daughter's going to has a really fantastic website for this. I can actually choose pretty much any other college or university in the United States, and I can go down and I can select all different kinds of courses that school offers, and then it will tell me what those courses will transfer into their university as, if will transfer in, for anything. And something that I found was a lot of the kind of like the I guess more popular schools that offer like online dual enrollment, the ones that we hear a lot about at like the Great Homeschool Convention and things like that, things like Cedarville University and Grand Canyon and things like that. When I put in courses from there for ones we were looking at, for example, like an English course, it would come up that it has not currently been evaluated for transfers, which means that while she could take a course there, like let's say she took an English course there, the school she's going to may very well accept it as the English course that she's going to need for her degree program, but they might look at it and decide it's going to be something different. We don't know until they have a chance to look over that course, look over what was covered, look over the material, and make a determination on what they will accept those credits as. Whereas other schools, when I put in the course, it had a direct transfer credit. It told me exactly which course it was equivalent to at that university and how many credits she would earn for it. So does that mean that we shouldn't choose one of those like more popular schools? No, I mean, like, we totally can, right? We could have done that, but it would have left that little bit of a question mark saying, you know, is this going to be something that is worth our time and money to have her do? Because our goal with dual enrollment wasn't necessarily the money saving side of it. You know, money kind of comes into play, especially you know, if you look at the overall cost of college, it's far cheaper to do dual enrollment than it is to pay full price for college. But she's actually going to have a scholarship that's going to cover her tuition, and so this isn't about saving money in this particular situation. For us, it's about getting some of those basic classes out of the way, so when she's at school full time, she can focus more on those courses that are specific to her degree program. Less worry about, you know, taking a full semester of English or a full semester of trig or statistics or whatever, but rather being able to focus it on the ones for her degree, when she has to take anatomy, when she has to take you know, her nutrition courses and specific labs and clinicals and things like that. I would rather her be able to focus on those and not have all of that other stuff, you know, kind of clogging up her day in her brain, right? Let's get as many of those out of the way as we can in advance. So it's about lightening her load. So when I'm looking at courses for her to do as a dual enrolled course, I want to make sure that they are going to transfer over and they are going to take the place of one of those courses that she has to do, but they aren't, you know, ones that are degree specific, if that makes sense. And so that's really where our research started, was looking at the transferability of these credits, which ones would move from one school to another for sure, and what credits would they cover. In some cases, I made phone calls and I asked about specific things, you know, if they'd had students transfer in from other places, because we had quite the list that we were looking at initially of school options to do. Some of them were out of state, some were private, some were public, some were Christian, some were not. Just a whole big list. We were really looking for ones that had online dual enrollment, so where she could do it pretty much self-paced and not have to worry about driving to a campus and things like that. What I ended up finding out was that in our state specifically, there's a really cool system kind of in place between all of the public universities and colleges, where there are certain courses that are guaranteed to transfer from one school to another. And that was something that was really interesting to find out. They have like a whole list of different types of courses that doesn't matter which school in Indiana you take it at, it is guaranteed to transfer to another one of those public schools. And from there, we also saw that, you know, we have some local colleges and their community colleges that have courses that will directly transfer to the university she's going to be going to and cover those basic courses. That was a really long explanation for what we were doing with our research there, but if I had to just sum it up in a nutshell, do your research on whether or not courses will transfer from the school you're going to do dual enrollment at to the school your student thinks they might want to go to full-time for college, and just make sure that it's going to be worthwhile to put that money and that time into it. Is it going to be beneficial to them? And go from there. So that was the first big thing. The second thing was figuring out exactly how it would work at the school that we decided to. So like I mentioned, she's going to do some courses through a community college, right? And I looked on their website and found that they do have like a homeschool coordinator, somebody who specifically works with homeschoolers who are looking to do dual enrollment. And I started with conversation with them, asking questions about how we get signed up and costs and what it is that they require from me. Believe it or not, they did not ask for a transcript. And here I am. I have this beautiful transcript all made for her. We sent that into the college she applied for, but they didn't require it. What they did require were placement tests. They said that that's actually something that they require from any student that's doing dual enrollment. They want them to do a placement test for English and a placement test for math to make sure that they're ready for that level of work. And so that was the first step. We did her online application. We set up an account with that school, and then she went in and she did these assessment tests. The English one, as you can imagine, because English was where she really like excels and where she really rocked out her SAT. That was no problem at all. She whipped through that nice and quick, got that done. Math was one that was a little bit tougher, but that's just been an area that's been kind of a harder one for her, but she got through that one as well. And once those assessments were done, then we were able to start doing registration for classes. And then we discussed what we wanted to do or what she wanted to do in terms of a mix of in-person, online, ones with Zoom classes where she had to be on certain times, and hands down, she was very much wanting to do strictly all online courses. She wanted to be able to go on at any different time, different days, do the work. Like, she understands that there's deadlines and things have to be done by certain dates and times, but to be able to work at her own pace, because it feels very familiar, to what we do with homeschooling. If she knows she's going to have a busy day during the week, she will work ahead on an earlier day. You might double up or arrange to do things in the evening or do things on an early morning or take work with her. And she likes that flexibility, and she really wanted to be able to work that into her dual enrollment. So that started to limit classes right there, looking for strictly all online ones. Then there were the options of how long these courses were going to be. There were courses that are full year, ones that are a full semester. There were versions that are 6, 8, 10 weeks long, and obviously that impacts the workload. If you're going to take a course that is originally designed to be a one semester course and you are going to cram it down into 8 weeks, that means there's going to be a lot of work to do over those 8 weeks. And we had a long talk about that because I wanted her to be very understanding of what to expect. That this was not going to be where, hey, you can sit down one day a week and get it all done. You're going to have to put some time in during that 8-week period to get that amount of work done. Expect that the reading load is going to be high because, again, it's a full semester worth of reading crammed into 8 weeks. You have papers you got to write. You got to have to do them faster. You're going to have to use all those skills that we've built doing our different English courses, and you're going to have to really ramp them up for this type of these type of courses. And especially even with the math courses, again, if she's going to do a full semester of math, but it's going to be crammed down into 8 weeks, that's an awful lot of math to go through and learn and feel comfortable with and test well on in a short amount of time. So we really had to talk through those expectations of what those classes would look like. Now, what she's decided is for the fall, she's doing 8-week courses, and we have tentatively registered for 8-week courses as well for the spring. So we baby stepped into it this fall. So she's just doing one course this fall, an 8-week English course, something that is required at the university she's going to go to next year. She's required to take a writing and a composition class. She's not required to take a literature course, but we discussed about whether or not she'd be interested in doing one. It would fit with her general education humanities requirements. She's supposed to do so many credit hours of that for her degree, and so it would fit into that, and it would kind of feel like having a full year of English that way. She is going to do a math course in the spring, and then she's going to do an introduction to psych course, and that's another one that fits into those humanities or social science requirements that her degree has that she needs to fill. So one course in the fall and then 3 courses in the spring, but not 3 courses at the same time. Because she's doing the 8-week courses, right after Christmas, she'll be in 2 college courses plus the stuff I have here in our homeschool, and then she'll have 1 in the second 8 weeks of the semester, and that'll probably be her psych course. And if she's feeling really good about things, we can always add in an additional course as well. So that is the game plan right now. Other learning curves that we've had is getting used to the online system, because every college and university has a different online system, and this was no exception. So getting familiar with where to find everything on their website, how to get into her student account, making sure her email works, even just finding where the assessments were on there. and getting in and seeing like the syllabus and required things. It was rather interesting because the first course this fall didn't actually have like a physical book to buy. The option was to basically get it as an online book. There is an extra option where we could purchase a physical copy, and we've kind of talked about that. She doesn't really like to read things online, and so I may just say, okay, like let's go ahead and order it for you. But at this point, I think by the time we get it, she'd be pretty much done. So something to consider as we go into the spring. If the book options for her spring courses are online books as well, we may have that online book, but we may go ahead and buy the physical books as well, just so she can have those to carry around. It's just how she prefers to read things. And then as a parent, it's just, I don't know, it's interesting because I'm kind of in this supporting role here. I feel like this first course, it's a little more, I'm a little more like over her shoulder, like showing her how to find different things, helping her understand how to read the syllabus and what to expect from things. I think learning how to really, get all the information out of a syllabus is important. There's a lot of important stuff that professors pack into there, and a lot of students don't read it all the way, but you really should. You should always read your syllabus all the way. And so showing her the ropes like that, understanding that. And then also looking at how it is they want things cited. We've thankfully introduced a lot of that already in our homeschool, how to properly cite sources and how to do APA format with paper writing. She's also been introduced to MLA format, but APA is a lot of what is used in college, and thankfully I have lots of experience with that because I wrote a buku ton of papers in my years, and they all had to be in that APA format. So just kind of helping her with that and double checking things and whatnot, but not, I don't know, it's finding that balance. Like, I don't want to hover too much. I want her to, be able to understand this, but I also don't want her to feel like I'm just going, okay, go, you're in college now. And you should be fine. I want her to know that, I'm here every step of the way for any questions that she has, any help that she needs. And if at any point she's feeling overwhelmed, to say so. But if she is feeling really good and doesn't have any questions and is rocking and rolling, then, then I'm just going to be in the background as a supportive player. So those are just some thoughts on dual enrollment. Again, if I had to kind of summarize everything so far, first of all, look at your student. Decide if this is something that is going to be helpful and beneficial to them. And know your purpose. Is your purpose to save money? Is your purpose to help take some of the load off when they go to school, get some credits out of the way early? Do you just want them to have the college experience, or do a few interesting classes that you maybe don't feel comfortable teaching? Like, what is your purpose in dual enrollment? And make sure that your student is on board. And then do your research. Make sure that whatever classes they're going to take are going to transfer to where you want them to go. That might mean doing some research online, checking transfer websites, calling those universities and actually asking somebody. All colleges will have an office where you can call and you can say, hey, I'm going to be taking these courses at this school and I want to make sure that they will transfer in, and they will be able to help give you that feedback and that information. And then look at the various options. What is your student ready for? What are they comfortable with? Is that an all online course? Is that a combo course where it's in-person and online? Is it all in-person courses? What will work best for them? And then what duration of classes do you think will work well for them? Whether that is short and quick sessions or longer full semester sessions or even full year courses. Kind of choosing what will help your student get what they need, but also feel like they can manage it well and are learning the material and not just rushing through it just to say they've gotten those credits done. So those are all just some things to consider. And of course, as we kind of go through this year, we will keep you updated on how things are going. We will share more about the experience as she wraps up this first college course and gets ready to start diving into, multiple courses at the same time. And if I can convince her, maybe I can get her on here sometime to share her thoughts as well. If you have any questions for us, drop a comment down below. If you have questions for my daughter even, you could drop a comment and I will share those with her and give you her responses. Thanks so much for joining me for today's video, everybody. I will see you in the next one, and until then, happy homeschooling.